fellow travelers. My name's Keegan Larwin, a New York City-based 3D artist, and you're watching The Art of Games. Today, we're jumping right into a game that I personally love a lot, and it's pretty next-gen. We're jumping right into Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Now, this is a enormous game. It's huge, it's absolutely massive, and it's learned so much from the likes of Skyrim and The Witcher 3. So we're gonna see a lot of lessons taken from other episodes and kind of really applied here in this masterclass of a really, really well put together game. Honestly, I know the Assassin's Creed franchise gets a bad rep. It does hold a special place in my heart, but I understand its shortcomings. Origins was great, but this game really, it takes a step forward. It's almost not even an Assassin's Creed game anymore. So if you love The Witcher 3, you love ancient Greece, and you enjoyed some of the old Assassin's Creed games, honestly, highly recommend this guy. All right, let's jump right in. I love the little fun facts. One thing I love about Assassin's Creed is it's like, I know it's not history. It's a kind of a bastardization of history, but I do kind of love that. There's like this, they clearly put a lot of effort and research into purposefully getting it wrong, if that makes sense. It's kind of like the Da Vinci Code, where it's like, none of this stuff is true, but it feels plausible enough that it's like a fun fantasy. It's like fantasy history. Wow, I might love that genre. I didn't really think about that until now, but it's good stuff. Like National Treasure, so good, so solid. Loading times, not great. I guess I could have taken some time to talk about this fire here, which looks pretty good. It looks a little low res if you look at it, but the motion they really got down, which is what's important. Looks like they're using some like larger fire bitmaps, animated bitmaps, and then some smaller ones too, which is good because fire kind of varies in scale. The movement's not consistent. All right, so something this game does really well is the landscapes are absolutely incredible. Just gorgeous. Oh geez. I jumped off that thing and didn't die. The texturing is just phenomenal. I mean, these brick textures are generally, the UVs are just flawless. Even with this curve, it really took some work. Yeah, the UVs are all perfect, and like, look at the way this moss is kind of like bespoke. Like, I can't even see the tile. And that's because they're layering these textures. This must be some amazing proprietary situation. It just looks so good. Oh yeah, bounty hunter. I'm just gonna have to hide for a second while I talk about tiles. Because I don't want to fight this guy. Maybe I do, he looks kind of soft. Nah. Keegan, we're filming an episode, we can't get into it. Yeah, these textures are just gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. Here's another example of fire we can look at. Let's see if I can get closer to it. So let me zoom in, no. Yeah, so it's a little pixelated. We're playing this at 1440p. With the compression, you're not be able to see it very well, but you can see the pixels in the animation of the bitmap. And basically what this is either a particle system of fire, or they've actually taken stock footage of it. Oh no. Interruptions like this were expected. It's okay. We'll handle him. Don't you worry. Oof. Oh, he's tough. Oh, I see another one coming. Ah! Oh yes. Oh, look at the Acropolis in the background, so good. Whoa. Oh, so brutal. Oh, jeez, there's another guy. All right, we're just gonna have to book it. Use civilians as cover. Are there really two on my back? That's just plain not fair. Oh, it's just one. We'll get him. Don't worry, we'll get him. How does that other guy know where I am at all times? well, I don't want to say my only critique. One of my critiques of this game is the bounty hunters are straight up like superhuman, will find you literally anywhere. They don't like it when you shoot them from far away. Some tells me we're just gonna have to get this other guy too. Yeah. So something you'll notice while I'm fighting these guys is they have really nice squibs, which a squib is like a movie term for, it's literally like a little explosive charge they put on an actor. Oh man. Oh man. Am I literally gonna die right now? There we go. A squib is like a little explosive charge they'll put on. Oof, that guy's straight up throwing javelins. These guys are not messing around, are they? So a squib is like a little explosive charge that they would put on an actor, and there's like a little packet of fake blood in there, and when the explosive charge goes off, there's this big like explosion of blood. Fake blood, obviously. All right, got one of them. Now for this guy. So anytime I can't really see because we're in a bush here, but anytime I stab this guy, you'll see these giant like streaks of blood flying off of him. And that isn't necessarily realistic for what would actually happen. Oh, that was a good dodge. Ooh, that was not a good dodge. So you'll see every time I shoot him, you see like this explosion of blood. And when you get hit with an arrow, it just kind of goes into you. I mean, that's kind of graphic and gross, but like, literally, when people get stabbed with an arrow, it's just like a, you know, there's not some blood explosion. But, oh, and you saw right when I pulled the dagger out, there was a nice little spray. And obviously that's not necessarily realistic. It's very stylized and it's very Hollywood. It's a Hollywood technique for, you know, expressing blood. Because you can't actually shoot someone, so you have to like devise a way to make it look like someone's getting shot. And it's kind of like an older, more theatrical method that's still in practice today just because people now, when they think of someone getting shot, when they think of someone getting shot, that's what they imagine, you know? It's like this Hollywood logic of, like in the public consciousness, what is, at least of us, lucky Americans who aren't like currently engaged in some kind of war, or war on our soil, I should say. We don't know what it actually looks like for someone to get shot. All we really have to go off of is our understanding from movies. So when you're making a game, you're kind of trying to adhere to that like public, some more squibs. You're trying to adhere to, you know, that the public's vision of what it is. So a lot of times these like over-the-top blood bursts are because this is what we see in film and TV. A prime example of this, speaking of arrows, is anytime, new bow. Anytime someone shoots an arrow at like a tree or, anytime someone shoots an arrow at like a tree or, I mean, it's always a tree, let's be honest. The arrow goes in and goes, wiggle, 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 and it has that little noise. Arrows don't actually do that. They fly straight in and they just stick because all the momentum is getting pushed into that one point and they stick in the tree. They generally don't have like this, you know, phalange sort of like wiggle movement. And they definitely don't like the wiggle, wiggle, wiggle noise. But anytime you need something to either be an arrow that sticks into a tree or sound like an arrow sticking into a tree, you add the little wiggle and you add the little sound effect because that's what people understand. They hear that sound, they see that little motion, and they're like, okay, that arrow is going really fast and stuck into a tree. So the same applies for blood hits and like squibs and stuff like that. Same applies for, honestly, pretty much, I mean, honestly, a ton of stuff. There's limitless examples we can point out. Okay, well that was a major diversion. I was gonna try and talk about some statues, but that didn't end up happening. Okay, let's carry on here. Statues, right. Oh wow, it's raining here just like it is today in New York. Honestly, it's super rainy right now, so this is all, it's nice and immersive. I feel like I'm in ancient Greece. They did a fantastic job with the skies. Can't remember what I was playing recently. They tried to use volumetrics. Okay, so this is a nice little touch. These statues are clearly painted to look like people, and when we look back at old, Greek statues, we basically just see the white material underneath, be it like sandstone or granite or whatever. I don't know if they actually worked with granite. If you know if they worked with granite, let me know. I'm pretty sure they did in Greece at this period. But they used to be painted. Honestly, a lot of old stuff used to be painted. It's just the paint wears away and decays, but like the structure of the statue remains. So if you actually were to go back to ancient Greece, a lot of stuff, a lot of statues, a lot of art would be a lot more colorful, because it's not like color was less vibrant back then. It might seem like it because pictures are in black and white and artifacts are old and drab, but things were actually very colorful back then. And it's great to see the art team doing their like due diligence, which of course they do. Art teams, if you're on an art team, I'm sure you would have done the same thing. And like all these colors too, beautiful. All right, so I'll talk a little bit about city life. Where are we? We are in, we're in Attica. This is Athens at the moment. I don't actually know my Greek history well enough to know if Athens ever turns to the Spartans, or what happens to Athens after this point. Love those birds. The birds, I'm pretty sure, they go away so fast, but I'm pretty sure they're sprites. Every time I come up on them, I try and get close to see if they're like a 3D model like they are in Half-Life 2, but I can never figure it out. Citizenry is always great. It's not like the crowds of some older Assassin's Creed games, but honestly, they don't need to be. The city still feels plenty populated, still feels like a city. It's not super loud though, is the thing. I always imagine cities being loud. Obviously when you go into New York City, right out here, it's very loud. It's just like a constant loudness that's always happening. But it's pretty peaceful here. I mean, you hear some voices, and I don't know how true that is to real life. Oh, this straight up dope Athena statue. What a badass. It's a place in my heart for Athena, man. So dope. It's a great name, actually, Athena. Oh, there are those birds again. Yeah, those are straight up sprites. They have to be. Because, I mean, it's genius because a sprite always faces the camera. In this case, the birds are facing away from the camera because they're assuming that if you're chasing birds, they're going to be flying away from you, so you're always going to be seeing the back of them. Wow, that's brilliant. I'm pretty sure that's what they did. Oh, see, this bird is not a sprite. This, like, turkey vulture thing. Oh, I'm auto-tracking it. Not a sprite. That's a straight-up 3D model. All right, we're going to hit up this Acropolis. These flower petals just breaking up the environment. Got some great music. Of course, we don't really know what Greek music sounded like. I actually read an interview with the, I can't remember who he was, but it was an interview with the guy who worked on the sound for this. Am I not allowed to be here? I must be some kind of fugitive. I read an interview with the, I want to say it was the audio director, maybe the music soup for this game. One of the last things they did was incorporate the like sea shanties and music like that. And basically they don't really know what Greek music sounded like because, ancient Greek music I should say, because like there are no recordings. Just want to climb on top of this Athena. There are no recordings, there's no sheet music. We have some instruments, but we're not even entirely sure how the instruments work. I can't remember what the instrument's called, but it said like stereotypical looking Greek harp that has like those two big knobs on them. You know, for a while people thought the knobs were just decorative, and then they figured out, oh wait, these are actually used to like add vibrato to the pitch, and like it was a performance tool. So there's still a lot we just like don't know about ancient Greece, simply because we weren't there and they didn't have a, yeah, those are sprites. Look at those guys. Are they? It's hard to tell. They have like this like low res look about them and they're not animated at 24 frames or 60 frames even. Like look at that bird. You know, I wonder if I can fly into them. Oh, I guess not. So yeah, I mean, the music is a great touch. Music brings, the thing about music in games is that like in-game music, not necessarily, like right now we're hearing battle music number 7 or whatever, but like having in-universe music is so important because music, art, and food are like 3 things that say more about a culture than almost anything else. You know, like you can have these buildings, you know, I would consider art, obviously, language too, the way people speak, but music is one of those things that like the sound of it kind of transcends all of it. Like I can look at this, like let's just say this like this building up on the Acropolis, I can't remember what it's called, kill me. So take a look at this building up on the Acropolis here. I couldn't tell you what kind of architecture this was, I would still be able to be like, oh, it's a building and it looks dope. You know, the same kind of applies and it tells you a lot about their culture, you know, the giant pillars, the huge statues, you know, the flags hanging all around, you know, these nice little touches here, these reliefs in the top. You know, it tells you a lot about the culture. It tells you about the personality of the culture, and kind of Greeks and their view of themselves in the Greek world and in the world itself. And the music does the same exact thing. It tells you it really gives you a window into that culture. So the fact that they had to like make the music from scratch was really impressive because it does sound good. They used reference from, you know, other similar cultures that they did have records from. And honestly, the music was all really good. Love it a ton. All right, let's move on. Love this. All right, let's just get out of here. Whoa, why are the people punching me? This is upsetting. To be fair, I have assassinated like 1,000 people at this point. Whoa. Ooh. All right. Well, let's take a little journey. Take a little adventure here. Let's see how far we can go. Yes. Let's go to this. Oops. Got those Nintendo Switch controls forever in my, yeah, let's go here, actually. Set that travel point.
Off we go now.
And hands-free, I can just go. This is, so The Witcher was great because it would let you follow any given path, which was nice. But what's just amazing about this game is I literally just hit a button and I'm hands-free riding. Now, some people may be like, well, you're not even playing the game. You're just like, it's essentially like a mobile game recharge timer, but like, it's not. Now I can just sit back and enjoy the scenery as it's going by. You know, if you were riding a horse in ancient Greece, especially as this character, as Cassandra, it would be like second nature to you. So you wouldn't have to be focusing on, you know, riding. You just kind of be sitting back, enjoying the scenery. So I really love this feature. It's really nice. It's also nice to be able to like, you know, check your phone, talk to someone while you, oh boy. Honestly, I should be targeting the horse. It's really mean. This is a problem I have with games where I get too into them and like I try not to kill animals because it's sad. Even though they're not real animals. Oh, follow the road. And this is so nice. I don't have to focus on where I'm going. The horse will do it. The horse is smart. The horse knows what she's doing. Or he, can't remember. Or it, maybe it's a non-conforming horse. I'm really not here to judge. Hakuba the Awakened. Gotta wake up, buddy. You know this isn't gonna go well for you. Oh, that thing gave me a turbo boost. Sorry, I just gotta craft some arrows. Just on the fly. Boom, 60 arrows. Straight up magic. Whoa. Honestly, this is the best way to farm, Oh, she's getting very close, very close. Bye. All right. Tug these assassins, man. When I played Assassin's Creed, I didn't know I'd be the one trying to get assassinated. I'm just trying to show people art. I'm a teacher in this land. And they're all just trying to murder me for it. The nerve. Love these goats. I don't know if they're, I think they're goats. They kind of went by really fast. This horse is such a spaz, I love it. He's like, oh, wrong way, oh, wrong way. So now we can relax for a second and look at these vast landscapes of Greece. One thing that The Witcher 3 did do a lot better is making the wilderness feel like wild and alive. If you look at these trees, they're all like swaying slightly in the wind, but you don't really get any sense of like wind or weather or like storm rolling in, you know? That's something that also Battlefield 4, something in recent memory, just like when there's a map where like this tropical storm rolls in, and the trees are just like whipping around when that storm comes in. And it just felt so amazing to like be there. It was something I really loved about Battlefield 4. A lot of people said that the Levolution was kind of a gimmick, but when it was weather, sprite birds. But when it was weather, it was like, it was honestly just amazing. It just made you feel like you were there. And this doesn't necessarily make you feel like you're, I mean, the environments are great, don't get me wrong, like the textures and everything is great. It just feels like it's so big that they didn't really have the time to, you know, handpick every single asset where it went. You know, some areas maybe like this, it feels a bit more curated, but like out here in these open plains, it's kind of like they just had to like scatter some bushes, make sure the terrain wasn't weird anywhere, and move on, you know, because there's just so much terrain here. Once again, huge ups to the environment artists. I mean, it's a giant task. And it's the little, like, they're 98% of the way there, obviously, to where The Witcher 3 is. It's just The Witcher 3, in so many aspects, went that extra 2% on literally everything they could, except for movement and horse riding. Yeah, the movement in this game feels so good. It's buttery smooth. Unlike some previous iterations of the installation. But like, as far as the environment goes, The Witcher 3 is just like, I mean, they're still top dogs for me. And the day they come out with a game that has a better environment than The Witcher 3, you better believe I'm gonna be playing that thing forever. This is something I don't like in games, is like the just like generic rubble pile. I understand that like you need a way to convey like large amounts of dust and debris, and it's like in these piles, but it never really, like you don't really see much artistry going on in this collection of things here. Okay. Made my horse mad. And The Witcher 3 had this problem too, where it was just like, okay, clearly they put this here because they want to show you that something was here before and is no longer here. So like you have this, this is just rock. So it's almost like a little environmental story where you can see there's a past, which is what these things used to be, a cart and probably like a building. And then there's a present, what they are now, a smoldering ruin. And that's like the simplest part of environmental storytelling, is being able to have the player see something that happened that you didn't actually show on screen. So clearly this got destroyed somehow, we don't know how. But there aren't really many clues. That's really all they give us with this. You have this broken thing, this pile of rubble, the second 2 more piles of rubble, and like some bits of wood. And it's like, all I can really surmise is that something was destroyed. You know, it doesn't really give us that much more. And games with great environmental storytelling, like Half-Life 2, whew, I mean, they give you a lot. They give you a lot with a little. And that's something I love about those games. It's something that I understand why it's not very prevalent here, because this game is so big. Like, we look at the credits list for this game, straight up a jillion people worked on this game, you know? So there's not necessarily time to go in, you know, and find every single little bit of like environmental storytelling and, you know, really make it nuanced and detailed. There just like literally is not time, because this game is so, if you would have done that, this game would have taken probably like 5 more years to develop. And you know what, Ubisoft is on a deadline. They don't have time to do that. Would it have been a better game? Yes, absolutely. But you know, you have to understand that your game is not going to be perfect. It's going to be as good as it needs to be to sell well and get like decent reviews, which is like sad, obviously. But if you're looking for like masterpieces when it comes to games, you don't want to be looking at the AAA market. You want to be looking at the indie market, because those people are really auteurs, you know, and they put their like heart and soul into a game, and it doesn't really necessarily matter if it sells super well. They just want it to be perfect. So the day we start seeing like auteur open world games like this is, I think, the day we'll really start getting into like some amazing environmental design. Once again, atmospheric perspective here is on point. Something that I really like is you can see this, there's kind of a line. So, keep pushing that wrong dang button. So I'll use the crosshairs to point here. So obviously there's some environmental fall off. Even as soon as right here, you can see between like this cliff and this wall, there's just a little bit of fall off there, a little bit of contrast lowered. And obviously between this and like way back there, you see it's like there's almost no contrast back there. It's just straight up foggy. And then it literally falls off into nothing in the distance, which looks great. But a lot of people just use a Z pass, which is basically a pass that goes from white to black or black to white, depending on how you have it configured. And basically just everything that's close to the camera is white, and everything that's far away from the camera is black. And everything in between is like a varying level of gray between white and black. And that helps the post-processing engine to understand what's close to the camera, what's far away from the camera. So you can create fall off super easily just by using that map, because everything that's far away, you make less contrasty. Everything that's closer to the camera, you make normal contrast. And that's just a super easy way to do environmental depth. But they've done something else here. And I'm interested to see what the trick is. But you can see that there's this line right here. You see the contrast kind of picks back up again as you go over here. Even though this, I don't know if this is also called an acropolis, but this building here is technically farther away than this cliff face. And yet this cliff face is less contrasty than the thing that's farther away, which goes contrary to everything you think about when you talk about depth passes or Z passes. So I'm not exactly sure what they're doing here, which I'm super interested to figure out. But what it's meant to do and why it looks so realistic is basically it's creating the density of the sky isn't consistent. I mean, it really depends on the day and stuff. But I mean, this is basically a cloud of, you know, high like water vapor, high density water vapor basically in the sky, just kind of giving more depth to the air and making it feel less like it's just like a flat foggy day. Usually when it's foggy, it's not flat foggy. There's tufts of fog. When I do environments, I love to take clouds, like VDB clouds. VDB is basically a way to define like a voxel volume. I like to take clouds and kind of scatter them around, kind of like this, so you don't get an even Z depth pass. You know, it feels like there's things in between. You know, there's one over here too. And it helps catch the environmental light too. If you ever have God rays coming down, and you're doing it for real, it's not like a plugin. You actually have lights casting through those volumetrics. You really get some nice patterns, and it feels very natural. So I'm always all for using clouds, like actual VDB volumes or any kind of volume, in tandem with using a depth pass. Here in this instance, I'm not sure what it is, because I know they've done volumes. They did volumes in Assassin's Creed Black Flag to like varying effect. I don't think these are volumes because they're so heavy on the system. I'm really curious to see what that is because that's absolutely fascinating. Keep on moving. This game is so beautiful and it runs so well. That's another thing. The Witcher 3 is heavy. Oof, even on this machine. I mean, when we did the Witcher 3 episode, it did crash once. I didn't even look at the telemetry to see what caused the crash. It could have just been the game crashing. But I have a feeling that running Witcher 3 on max settings at 60 frames per second with 2 instances of OBS running, that's probably what did it in the end. But you know, worth it, honestly. How close are we to this place? We're not that close. Might have to do a little fast travelsies. I hate games that make you kill wolves. Look at how cute that guy is. He just wants a biscuit, but the game's gonna make him attack me. And the only way to get him to stop is to literally murder him. Wolves get such a bad rap in games. Like, I know they'll straight up eat you if like they're super hungry and have the chance, but they're also really nice sometimes. Nice little river. Did great with the water on this game, honestly. Which is the last thing we're gonna check out. Nice atmosphere, all this, the bloom, some nice atmosphere lights coming through there. See those rays casting above the trees? That's what I talk about when I'm saying atmospheric lights. Or God rays. Volumetric lights, you could also call them. Beautiful. Yeah, and the way that it's casting through, like this feels like it's not ray traced because you'd be able to see it this way as well. But they must be doing some sort of volumetric. I don't know if you can even see it in the compression. Let me back up. But you can see these tufts of light. It makes it feel like we're going through a particularly foggy spot. It must just be something with their volumetrics engine. Usually you can kind of figure out what's going on if you can get it to glitch and you're like, oh, I see what they're doing. A little peek behind the scenes. This must just be their, just getting those rays through the trees like that. Yeah. Yeah, this is all part of their, whatever they're using for this volumetric light. Casting from the sun source. Because usually when you see those rays, you need like a point of brightness, like the sun over here, obviously. So if you look at the sun over here when I turn this frame, those brightness points are hitting the dark points and creating those lines a little bit. That seems like they're doing some cheating here. What I'm curious about is you see these rays over here on this side when I go to this frame. There's no like point of light making those. I mean, it's the sun, obviously. But usually when you do like a plug-in sort of thing, it would be casting like from these bits of blue sky, but it really feels like sun rays casting through, like actual volumetric light. I mean, this looks great. This looks fantastic. So, I mean, props to whoever developed that system. I mean, it's good stuff. All right, we're gonna do a little cross country, which is usually a bad idea. I really like games where the roads are there for a reason, when the roads are actually the path of least resistance. Obviously, running cross country on a horse like this in real life would be very hard. The horse probably wouldn't be able to run. They'd have to walk. And, you know, the horse could break its leg on like some wrong footfalls and stuff. You wouldn't be jumping off of stuff, you know. Just be a very difficult thing to do. These beautiful fields of amber corn. One thing you'll notice when we start, we're kind of starting to make the jump to ray tracing all the way. Man, these corns look so good. Honestly, it's probably like 2 or 3, or they're wheat, sorry. There's probably only like 2 or 3 Wheaties here, and they're just like rotated randomly. And they'll have got their animation on them, but there's enough of them, I guess, that you don't really see them tessellate. Maybe a little bit. Anyway, you'll notice that the top of this wheat is like yellow and the bottom of it down here is kind of like red. And that's all in the texture. It looks pretty good, but what it's really doing is simulating the transmission of light passing through the wheat. Like when you see grass, imagine like the sun setting, it's a sunny day, the sun is setting, and you see grass. Where the sun hits the grass, it kind of looks kind of warm. It's almost like glowy, you get that warm Shire feeling. But then the grass where the sun isn't hitting it, it's still kind of green, even on one blade. And that's because the light is actually going into that blade, going literally inside the fabric of that blade of grass and scattering with the sun's light. It's literally scattering. Since the sun is so low, it gives it kind of like a reddish feel, scattering and making it kind of glow a little bit because that light is going into the grass, scattering, and then going outside the grass in like different directions. And that's an extremely important thing when you're doing landscapes like this, to get that scattering look correct. On the trees, they haven't really done it, but they really did it pretty well in the corn. Because obviously anywhere where the sun's hitting this corn, it's gonna be bright yellow, almost reddish. And then anywhere where it's not hitting the corn, down here, where it's occluded by the other, I keep saying corn, where it's included by the other stalks of wheat, it's kind of back to its normal brown color. So they did a great job there, kind of mimicking transmission. When ray tracing, actually, like, when we go ham on ray tracing, oh boy, it's gonna be, things like this are gonna be miles ahead. And this already looks pretty good. This cornfield is gonna look so good. Oof. No. Just going through the dark part of the woods. It's beautiful golden hour. Yeah, look at these rays. Just did so well with them. Sorry, I just gotta farm my wood. You see how many arrows I craft, When you're spawning 60 arrows at a time out of your hand, you gotta have those wood supplies stocked. Let me tell you. How am I going so slow? Man, that sunset is just gorgeous. And I know some of you are probably saying, Keegan, you can just fast travel to where you're going. First of all, I live in the moment. Second of all, I want to show y'all all these different like environmental things along the way, because the biggest accomplishment for me about this game is the environmental design. Lastly, the game's called Assassin's Creed Odyssey, man. You gotta pick a point and just ride out to it, and you never know what you're gonna find along the way. It's about the journey. Look at those beautiful mountains. I wonder if those are photo scanned. I think those rocks are photo scanned and probably embedded in. You know what? Let's just ride up to them. This horse is an all-terrain vehicle. Ugh, I love this. Yeah, I wonder if part of my like recent fascination, words. I wonder if my recent, what even is that word? My brain is literally disappearing. And it might be gone now. Fascination, there we go, wow. Oof, I'm gonna cut that, ugh. Oh, look at this beautiful environment. Look at these photo scan textures. These have gotta be photo scans. If an artist made this, whew. Yeah, look, this like moss and stuff. I love photo scanning stuff, so like, this is my jam. This is a beautiful texture. I'd pay some good money for these Ubisoft texture banks, dang. Oh, riding on this mountain, this beautiful view. God, this game is gorgeous. can't handle it. I don't even know what I was talking about. Oh yeah, I think part of my recent fascination, that's a word, right? My recent fascination with, it's almost more like they're more endearing to me. These like games with these huge, beautiful outdoor environments like Witcher and Assassin's Creed, both Origins and Odyssey, is I live in a big city. When I go to a job in Manhattan or even walk around outside, it's like, it is the opposite of nature. It is just like human existence, which is dirty and gross, you know? Like there aren't bugs, which is cool. If you don't like bugs, it's like, oh, this is pretty dumb. There's no bugs, except for the cockroaches, obviously. But look at the snow. The snow looks good, dog. This is some good looking snow, oh my gosh. Wow. This is beautiful. Having a little moment up here, man. I've never been to this part of the map. Like, why would I? That's what I say. It's about the journey. You just gotta pick a place and ride to it. And you never know what you're gonna find. Like, there's no reason to be up here. There's no encounter or quest up here. It's just you in the hills. I wish there was a bit more sound design though. It's kind of quiet. But yeah, as I was saying, as it was taking me forever to say, I love these nature games because you just don't get a lot of nature out here. When I go, you know, back to Ohio or, you know, driving through Pennsylvania or something, you roll the windows down, you smell that grass, and you're just like, oh my gosh, grass. Like, you get high off of the smell. It smells so good. It's because when you live in like a city made of smog and human waste, like, you take for granted like how beautiful and fragrant, I know it's weird, but literally fragrant nature is. And how much more pleasant it is just to exist in a place that's not filled with, oh my gosh, other humans. See, like, other humans. We were having a grand old time till these other humans showed up. Come on, Shadowfax. Don't run from me. Oof. Dog, this is not a game. Is this horse laughing or neighing? I think it's laughing. Look at the sleepy bison. I don't know if that's actually, it's not a bison. It's a reindeer of some kind? Elk? Caribou? I don't know. Horse. You played me. Wow. I can't tell if I'm losing frames or if my horse is just going slowly. I think in some areas your horse goes slower. Like the frame rate isn't dropping, but it's almost like the game speed is slowing down to accommodate a frame drop. I'm not sure. Ugh, this place is gross. And like the quality of texture sometimes varies. Like what is happening here? What like last gen? Like making I mean, this is clearly deliberate, but it doesn't look good. The way these textures are mixed, it's just like, what is this? You know, so, like I said, huge game. It's not a lot you can do. Maybe they had like a junior artist work on this, or there's just like no quality control on this place. They're like, yeah, it's supposed to look like a poop hole, so that's that. I'm just minding my own business, and literally everyone wants to kill me. To which I say, fine. To be fair, I am a well-trained assassin with no master. The bounty hunters really make sense now that I think about it, but oh. Oh, that's so cool. That would have been a screenshot right there. How do we do photo mode? Yeah, man. And snap. I love that feature. Like, as someone who loves to take photos and does video stuff, obviously. Oh, they give you so many grids. I'm always I'm a thirds man myself. Fibonacci spiral if I'm feeling feisty. What do these guys want? This is a town of bullies. Just trying to show the good people some good art, though I clearly came to the worst town in all of Greece for that. It's just like mud town. Come on, there we go. It's okay, I'll call the Andresta my ship, and we'll leave Mud Town. While King of Mud, the King of the Mud tries to hunt me. This is where I call the Andresta, right? Oh, it's over there. Well, I guess we'll have to swim for it. The one thing that does make this game very unsettling is there are sharks literally everywhere. Like, I would not be surprised if a shark attacked me right now. Like, if you go into any kind of salt water, you will be attacked by a shark. It's like, how many sharks are there out there? Let's do it. All right, it's the middle of the night. The Andresta's here. I love just getting on the ship. It's so nice. Any game where you can like get on your vessel. Are these people dead or they're sleeping? God, yo, there are beds underneath the deck. You don't need to sleep directly on the deck. It's disturbing. Anyway, any game where you can like get on your ship and like walk around and inspect it kind of beforehand, it's so nice, you know? It just makes it feel so much more real, like it's yours. Let's see here. There used to be a, no? I thought there was like a meditate function or something, but.
Where shall we go?
These lights casting is really nice. Honestly, I mean, we're getting to a place where like, oh, we're going straight into the fog. This is so creepy. Here's the shanty I was talking about. Wow. This is so eerie. So we're getting to a point in games where like, they're hitting the wall between like, ray tracing and not ray tracing, you know? Like, all of this looks so good. The like reflection in the sail here of the fires looks great. Something I really like is these little embers falling out of the, you see these two lanterns by the mast, you have like these embers flying out and kind of passing you, really giving you that sense of speed. I love how your bird, Icaros, is always following you. Oh, now the clouds are looking up following me. So clearly there's like there's a big skybox or like an HDR or something, which is the big dome that surrounds the entire sky. And then you have these, honestly, they look like they could be volumetrics. These volumetric clouds in between that, kind of breaking up that HDRI and making it different, you know, creating different patterns. You can see that they're very blocky. Like, both of their shapes are blocky, and you can see the individual voxels, it looks like. It could also just be that they're pixels. No, they seem to be moving a little bit over there. these could be volumetrics, like a very basic level. But what they're doing, I think, is they're actually either via some kind of illusion, or they actually are changing the way the light is casting down onto the world, which really makes the world feel so much more alive. It makes the weather feel real. So yeah, I mean, that's super cool. You have to look at a game like Sea of Thieves, to get something else like that. Another thing here is these birds. You'll notice there's like these birds following your boat. But I've noticed that they just kind of like respawn, like right there. They all just spawned, and now they're gonna disappear. Now there are no birds. Boom, they just spawned again. And now there are no birds. So it's kind of like this localized effect. And it's a lot of times in games how they do snow, where you can't fill an entire scene with snow because it would literally crash. That's so many particles. That's like billions of particles you'd have to simulate. So they don't mess around with that. They literally just have the snow only falling around you in a localized way. And it's the same with these birds. They have basically a field of birds. It's like a field of birds, and then when the fall off map of your boat touches those birds, they come into view, and then they disappear. They're culled. This ocean water looks very good too. I think this is a similar thing actually, where the actual wavy ocean, you can see after a little bit it just kind of gets flat. And it just kind of becomes a flat plane. I think the actual ocean is only simulated in this like small radius around you. And you just don't notice it because they have a nice gradual fall off once again. I mean, that's a genius way to do the open sea, because this would be absolutely, frankly, this would be a nightmare to do the entire ocean like this, so. And also look at the way that this boat is displacing the texture here. Once again, I think that's just some sort of, what I would do is use like a deformer and set the fall off to be just around the boat, obviously. So it, blends nicely with the deformation that's already happening from whatever operation they are committing to this sea to make it, move around like this. And honestly, it just looks great. The sun should be rising shortly. Maybe that's the moon. Yeah, that's the moon. I know I've said this before, I'll say it again. Huge pet peeve in games is when they don't just let it be dark. This looks like, it straight up looks like it's early morning, kind of. No, it's the middle of the night. It's just the moon is so bright. I don't understand it. I mean, I know that you want the player to be able to see, but like, part of what makes night scary is that it's dark and you can't see anything, so maybe when we get more ray tracing, we'll get darker games because you'll actually get, some subtle GI happening instead of having to have like this overall blanket of like ambient light happening. But for now, I guess we just have to deal with really bright night times in games. That's all I got for y'all today. I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Art of Games. We're going to be doing a lot more episodes, a lot more games, so please let me know what you want to see, what games you want to see. If you want me to revisit something, or if you have specific questions about things, I'd love to go in and answer all of those and do all those requests. My aim here with this series is to teach people and to kind of give them an inside look at what's going on. So if you're curious about anything and I don't know the answer, I'll obviously research it and look it up for y'all. But like I said, that's all I got for today. I hope you guys have a great day. And just watching this boat is just mesmerizing me, and this music, oh, so good. Maybe I'll just leave you with it. So until next time, have a good one. My name's Keegan Larwin. Peace out.